d4, queen's pawn opening, opening line. The queen's pawn opening move is somewhat slower than the popular e4 because white will not be able to castle for 3 more moves. Its advantage is that it gives white more control over tactical surprises and often provides more lasting initiative and pressure. d5, opening line. Black answers symmetrically, challenging the center directly. c4, queen's gambit, opening line. The queen's gambit is the logical response to black's symmetrical defense, challenging d5. d takes c4, queen's gambit, accepted, opening line. The queen's gambit accepted opens a number of important variations in queenside openings. Rarely does black try to hold the pawn. Instead, he attempts to make positional gains while white regains it. Fianchettoing the queen's bishop is common. Knight f3, queen's gambit, accepted, opening line. Knight f6, queen's gambit, accepted, opening line. Queen a4, check, queen's gambit, accepted, Mannheim variation, opening line. c6, queen's gambit, accepted, Mannheim variation, opening line. Queen takes c4, queen's gambit, accepted, Mannheim variation, opening line. Bishop g4, out of opening book. Bishop f5 would have been in the queen's gambit, accepted, Mannheim variation, opening line. Knight c3. Knight b d7. e4. Bishop takes f3. Partially pins white's pawn at g2 and blocks white's pawn at f2. G takes f3. White wins a bishop for a knight. Material is even. e6. Bishop e3 clears the way for a queenside castle. Bishop e3 clears. Bishop e7 enables the short castle. Bishop e2 enables the short castle. Castle kingside. Queen b3 attacks black's pawn at b7. c5. d5. E takes d5. Knight takes d5. Knight takes d5. Queen takes d5. Pins black's pawn at f7. White wins a knight and a pawn for a knight and a pawn. Material is even. Queen c7 protects black's pawn at b7. Castle queenside. Rook a d8. Queen f5. Bishop f6. f4. g6 attacks white's queen. Queen h3 moves it to safety. Bishop d4. King b1. Queen c6 attacks white's pawn at e4. Queen f3 removes the threat on white's pawn at e4. Knight f6. Bishop takes d4. Rook takes d4. Rook takes d4. C takes d4. Creates a passed pawn on d4. Black wins a rook and a bishop for a rook and a bishop. Material is even. Bishop d3 blocks black's pawn at d4. Rook c8. Rook d1. Knight h5. Queen g4 frees white's pawn at e4 from the pin. Knight f6 threatens white's queen. Queen e2 moves it to safety. Knight h5 threatens white's pawn at f4. Queen g4 protects white's pawn at f4. Knight f6 threatens white's queen. Queen e2 moves it to safety. Knight h5 threatens white's pawn at f4. Queen g4 removes the threat on white's pawn at f4. The game ends in a draw.